The town's carnival only comes once a year. Don't stay after midnight, my grandmother warned. I laughed, until the clock struck 12, and the exit was gone. The rides kept running, but no one was operating them. Then I heard the clowns whispering, even though their painted smiles never moved. One looked right at me and murmured, "Now you're part of the show." I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania called Millfield. It's one of those places where everyone knows everyone, and nothing much ever changes. The kind of town where the biggest event of the year is the annual carnival that sets up in the old fairgrounds every June. It's been that way for as long as anyone can remember. My grandmother used to tell me stories about the carnival. She'd say, "Don't stay after midnight, no matter what." I always thought she was just trying to scare me, like grandmothers do. She'd get this serious look in her eyes, though, like she meant it. I never took her seriously. The carnival would roll into town on the first Friday of June, like clockwork. Bright lights, colorful tents, the smell of popcorn and cotton candy in the air. It was magical, especially for a kid. But there was always something a little off about it. The workers never seemed to talk much, and the rides looked old, like they hadn't been updated in decades. Still, it was the highlight of the summer. When I was 17, I decided to test my grandmother's warning. It was a warm Saturday night, and the carnival was in full swing. I told my friends I wanted to stay late, just to see what would happen. They laughed and said I was crazy, but I was determined. As the night wore on, the crowd started to thin. By 11:30, most families had gone home, and only a few teenagers and couples remained. I wandered around, taking in the sights, waiting for midnight. At exactly 12 o'clock, I heard the chimes from the old town clock tower. I looked around, expecting something to happen, but everything seemed normal. Then I noticed the entrance gate was gone. Not closed, gone. Like it had never been there. I walked over to where it should have been, but there was nothing but an unbroken fence. I felt a chill run down my spine. I turned back toward the carnival, and that's when I noticed the rides were still running, but there were no operators. The Ferris wheel spun slowly, empty seats creaking in the night air. The carousel turned, its music playing softly, but no one was on it. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows. I started to feel uneasy. Then I heard it, a whisper. Soft, almost inaudible. I couldn't make out the words at first, but it was coming from the clown tent. I approached cautiously. Inside, the clowns stood motionless, their painted smiles frozen. But the whispers continued. One clown turned its head slowly to look at me. Its mouth didn't move, but I heard it clearly, "Now you're part of the show." I stumbled back, heart pounding. I ran to the other end of the carnival, hoping to find another exit, but the fence was unbroken all around. I was trapped. The rides kept moving, the lights kept flickering, and the whispers grew louder. I don't know how long I wandered the carnival that night. Time seemed to stand still. Eventually, I must have passed out from exhaustion. When I woke up, it was morning. The carnival was gone. Just an empty field remained. I tried to tell people what happened, but no one believed me. They said the carnival packed up and left like it always does. But I know what I saw. I know what I experienced. And every year, when the carnival comes back, I stay far away. Because I remember the whispers. I remember the clowns. And I remember that once you're part of the show, you can never truly leave. To this day, I don't know why the carnival chose me. Maybe it was because I didn't heed my grandmother's warning. Maybe it was just bad luck. But I've learned my lesson. Some things are better left alone. And some warnings should be taken seriously. I still live in Millfield. Life goes on, but every June, when the carnival comes to town, I lock my doors and stay inside. Because I know what's out there. And I know that the carnival is always looking for new performers. So if you ever find yourself in Millfield during carnival season, remember this: don't stay after midnight. No matter what. I wish I could say that was the end of it. That I stayed away, learned my lesson, and moved on like a normal person. But whatever happened to me that night didn't just disappear. It stuck to me like the cold in your bones after a harsh winter. Quiet, always there, waiting. A few months after that night, I started seeing things. Not full-on hallucinations, not yet, but shadows where there shouldn't be any. Flickers in the corner of my eye. I'd catch myself turning to look, expecting someone to be there. No one ever was. At first, I told myself it was stress. I was graduating high school, working part-time, trying to hold it together after what I still wasn't sure had been a dream or some kind of psychotic break. But then it got worse. One morning, I found something sitting on my porch. It was a tiny red balloon. Just one. No string, no note. Just sitting there, unmoving in the still air. I didn't touch it. I just stared at it for a long time before going back inside and locking the door. That night, I heard laughter. Not from outside. From inside the house. I live alone. The laugh wasn't loud. It was soft, muffled, like someone trying to hold it in. Like a child giggling under a blanket. I checked every closet, every room, every corner. Nothing. But the laugh came back the next night. Then the next. On the fourth night, I decided to record it. I set up an old phone to catch any sound or movement. I hit record, left it in the living room, and went to bed. I didn't sleep, obviously. In the morning, I checked the footage. There was nothing at first. Just silence and stillness. Then, right around 2:33 a.m., the audio picked up a soft creaking sound. The kind you hear when an old ride starts up. And then, the giggling. Clear, right there on the video. And not just one voice. Multiple. Kids. Maybe 3, maybe 4. Laughing, whispering. Saying my name. Then came a knock. Not on the door. On the camera. The phone fell to the floor and the recording ended. I should have run. I know that. But I couldn't. Something in me was stuck. Like the fear had grown roots. So instead, I started looking into the carnival. Digging into old records, newspaper clippings, anything I could find. And that's when things really started getting strange. Turns out the carnival didn't just visit Millfield. It traveled through small towns all over the Northeast. Always once a year. Always for one weekend. And always, people went missing. Not a lot. 1 or 2 every few years. But enough. Some were brushed off as runaways. Some were blamed on accidents. But the deeper I dug, the more I saw the pattern. Different towns. Different decades. Same exact posters. Same ticket booth. Same name, the Grand Spectacle Traveling Carnival. And the clowns? Always the same 3. I found grainy black and white photos in some old archive at the Millfield Library. Photos from as far back as the 1920s. They looked identical to the ones I saw that night. Still had those frozen grins. Still staring straight at the camera like they could see right through time. One night, as I sat with those pictures, trying to piece it together, I got a call. No caller ID. I shouldn't have answered. But I did. I didn't say anything. Neither did the person on the other end. Not at first. Then the whisper came through. Same voice I'd heard that night in the tent. You forgot your act, it said. But we haven't forgotten you. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, trying to catch my breath, and that's when the power cut out. My house went pitch black. I heard the faint sound of carnival music. Not the cheerful kind. The broken, off-key kind, like a calliope running out of steam. I lit a candle and backed into the hallway. The shadows seemed to move on their own. I was sure I saw one dart into the kitchen, too fast to be anything human. I didn't sleep at all that night. By the next morning, I'd made up my mind. I had to go back. I had to see if I could stop it, or at least understand it. Maybe find someone else who'd been through the same thing. I waited for June. And when the posters went up, same faded edges, same strange font, I went to the fairgrounds the night before the carnival arrived. Nothing was there yet. Just the empty field, tall grass waving in the breeze. But I could feel it. Like the air was waiting to breathe again. I came back the next day. The carnival had appeared like a dream. Not like it had been built overnight, like it had just materialized. The same red and yellow tents. The same crooked Ferris wheel. The same smell of cotton candy and rust. It was exactly as I remembered it. I walked through the gates with the rest of the crowd. Watched the families laughing, the kids dragging their parents toward the rides. I waited until dark. And then I stayed. Midnight came faster than I expected. And once again, the exit was gone. But this time, I didn't panic. This time, I was ready. I made my way to the clown tent, my heart pounding, and stood in the center. They were waiting for me. Still motionless. Still smiling. Then one stepped forward. "Back for your part?" it asked, in that same dead whisper. I didn't answer. I just stared. "You don't belong out there," it said. "You were chosen." "For what?" I asked. The clown tilted its head. "To perform." Another stepped forward. "You've already started." I shook my head. I never agreed to anything. "But you stayed," it said. "That's all we needed." I turned and ran. I had no plan. Just panic. The lights overhead flickered wildly. The rides moved faster. The music got louder. I heard the screams of people I couldn't see. The last thing I remember was tripping over something and hitting my head. When I came to, I was in my own bed. It was daylight. No sign of the carnival. But this time, there was something new. A small mirror had been placed on my nightstand. It wasn't mine. And when I looked into it, my reflection smiled. But I didn't. I didn't touch the mirror for days. It sat there on my nightstand like it belonged, like it had always been there. But I knew better. I never owned a mirror like that. Oval-shaped, silver frame, old-fashioned, looking like something from a haunted movie. And the worst part? Every time I caught a glimpse of myself in it, my reflection held just a half-second too long. Like it didn't want to let go of me. Like it knew something I didn't. After the fourth day, I couldn't take it anymore. I threw a blanket over it. But that didn't stop the dreams. They started off scattered, just strange flashes. The carnival at night. Empty rides spinning. Clowns standing at the edge of my vision. Whispering. Always whispering. Then the dreams got worse. More vivid. More real. I'd wake up soaked in sweat, clawing at my bedsheets. My fingers would hurt like I'd been holding something tight. And sometimes, I was. One morning I woke up holding a piece of red balloon. Another time, a single rusty ride ticket was clenched in my hand, the ink faded but still readable. Admit one, the grand spectacle. That's when I realized something had followed me back. Not just dreams. Not just shadows. Something real. I tried everything, burning sage, prayer, even smashing the mirror. But when I broke it, all it did was make things worse. Because the moment the glass shattered, I saw something move inside it. Not a reflection, something behind it. And it smiled at me. A wide, painted grin that didn't fade when the pieces hit the ground. That night, my phone buzzed. A video message. No number. Just a file called, "Your act begins now." I almost didn't open it. I should have deleted it. But I watched. It was footage of me, walking through the carnival that night. Only it wasn't what happened. In this version, I wasn't afraid. I was performing. On stage. Dressed in a striped red and white outfit, juggling knives while a crowd of empty seats clapped and laughed with no faces. Behind me, the clowns stood, nodding. The video cut to static, then to black. My phone shut off. Permanently. The next morning, I went to the sheriff. Told him I was being followed, stalked, harassed. Left out the supernatural stuff because, well, I wanted to sound sane. He listened for a while, then leaned back in his chair. Told me, "You're not the first person to say something like this. Back in '92, a guy named Roger Whitley told a story kind of like yours. Carnival. Missing time. Dreams. Disappeared 2 days later. I asked what they found. The sheriff looked at me for a long time, then said, "Just a red nose. Laying in his backyard." That night, I didn't sleep. I packed a bag. Food. Water. A flashlight. And I waited. I knew I had to go back. To finish this. Or at least try. Because I couldn't live like this. Not with whispers in my ear and shadows slipping under my door. The next night, I drove out to the fairgrounds. Nothing. But around 1 a.m., the wind changed. I felt it in my chest, like pressure shifting deep in my lungs. And then, just like that, the lights appeared. Like someone flipped a switch in the middle of the empty field. Tents. Rides. Music. All waiting for me. I walked in through where the gate used to be. This time, no crowd. No kids. No sounds but the faint creak of the Ferris wheel and the grind of the carousel. And the clowns. All 3 of them were there. Waiting. Blocking my path like they'd known I'd come back. "Welcome home," one whispered. "What do you want from me?" I asked. They didn't answer. They just moved aside, slowly, revealing a mirror at the center of the midway. Bigger than the one in my room. 8 feet tall. Framed in lights that flickered without rhythm. "Step through," one said. "It's your final act." I backed away. "No," I said. "I'm not playing." "You already are," they said together. Then they moved forward. I ran. Ducking between the rides, dodging swinging ride arms and frozen game booths. But no matter how fast I moved, the mirror kept appearing in front of me. Like it was dragging the world around me, reshaping everything. Then I slipped. Fell hard, my head ringing, the world tilting. When I looked up, the mirror was right above me. And in the reflection, I wasn't lying down. I was smiling. Standing tall. Wearing the same red and white costume from the video. Face painted white. A red grin drawn wide across my lips. I screamed. But the reflection didn't. It just reached forward. And pulled me in. I don't know how long it's been. Time doesn't work the same here. I perform every night. The crowd never speaks. Never moves. Just stares. Sometimes, I see flashes of real faces in them. People I knew. The sheriff. My old classmates. My grandmother. They're all part of it now. The clowns come after every show. Tell me I'm doing great. That I've found my purpose. They say I'll never be alone again. That's the worst part. They're right. I'm not alone. Every night, I hear the whispers of new voices behind the mirrors. People who stayed past midnight. People who laughed at warnings. And soon, very soon, they'll join the show too. So if you ever see that carnival roll into your town, don't go. And if you do go, don't stay after midnight. Because once the mirror smiles back, you're not the one in control anymore. I wish I could tell you I found a way out. I wish I could say I escaped, broke the mirror, burned the tents, and walked away into the sunrise a free man. But this place, it isn't just a carnival. It's a trap. A stage. A prison built from every fear you try to laugh off. And now, I'm not just in the show. I am the show. Every night, I wake up in my little painted room behind the big top. The clowns come to get me. They lead me to the center ring. They never speak anymore. They don't have to. I know what they want. The lights come on. The crowd appears. Dozens. Hundreds. Sitting silently under the striped tent roof. You think they're just watching. But they're feeding. On fear. On dread. On me. I dance. I juggle. I cry behind the paint. Sometimes, they make me play the game where I chase the kid who never turns around. Sometimes, they spin me until I forget my name, then start the act again. And the mirror's always there. Right at the edge of the ring. Every time I try to run through it, every time I think I've had enough. They show me the real horror. The outside world. Because it kept going without me. And worse? Someone else took my place. He looks like me. Walks like me. Smiles like I used to. He's living my life. Wearing my skin. He visits my grandmother. Goes to my old job. Smiles at people in the grocery store. And not a soul notices he's not me. But I see. Every time he walks past a mirror, I catch a flicker of the truth. His reflection glitches. Just a second. And I'm still there. Screaming. Trapped behind the glass. Performing. Begging. And I swear to God, sometimes, people do see it. Just a flicker. Just enough to make them tilt their heads, confused. But it's not enough. He always smiles. He always walks away. So I keep dancing. Keep juggling. Keep performing. Because one night, someone will stay past midnight. They'll get curious. Or drunk. Or stupid. They'll see the ride still spinning. They'll hear the whispers behind the painted smiles. And they'll ignore the voice in their head screaming, "Run." That's when the clowns will open the curtain again. And I'll be waiting. Behind the mirror. To switch. Just one more time. So if you ever see someone who looks like they've been smiling just a bit too long, check their reflection. Make sure it's really them smiling back. Because if it's me, you're next.